It's been almost 7 months since I got broken up with. Yeah. And it felt like the worst feeling in the world. Like something I had never felt before. It was crazy. It was really difficult on me. And I was filled with this sense of, that this is unfair, that this is wrong. It felt like the biggest betrayal, and it felt like grief is hard. People have a lot of grief. Everyone has grief. Everyone knows what grief is. Everyone has lost someone, and if you haven't, then you're going to. People don't like grief. People don't like goodbyes. People don't like saying bye, because it's the human tendency to cling on to a feeling, a good feeling. When something makes you feel good, you like it, and you wanna keep it forever. You wanna keep feeling that feeling again. And naturally, when the person that is providing that good feeling is gone, and then it all comes crashing down for you, because no longer do you not only have not the good feeling anymore, and it's just part of the grief, obviously. The bigger part of the grief is losing the person itself, because you don't just get attached with that good feeling the person gives you. You get extremely attached with the person itself. And if it's true pure love, then you get attached with all the imperfections of that person, not just the perfections. In fact, true love is actually the acceptance of someone's imperfections, regardless of how perfect they are. It's not the prettiest girl in the world. It's not the girl who's the most patient. It's not the girl who always listens to you. Although those are very desirable and good characteristics when you're truly in love with someone, regardless of how horrible of a person that they might seem, you still love them. You love how angry she gets at you. Well, no, that's not the case. But you love her despite of the fact that she gets angry at you. You're willing to put up with that because you love her. That is what love is. And people hate losing that. This is not just about your interpersonal romantic relationships. It's also about your relationships with your parents, your friends, your pets, sometimes even objects. Sometimes even habits and activities. You get really attached to everything that has to do with you and that you do. Everything that gives you a good feeling. Everything that makes you think this is what life is living. This is everything that makes you think that this is why life is worth living. And when you lose that, when you inevitably will lose that, because that is the nature of life, you will lose everything until you lose yourself, until you yourself are lost, or until you yourself are finished, dead. So in the time that we are alive, we want to cling on to these temporary relationships as much as possible, these temporary good feelings, because we know this is not something that we're consciously aware of. In fact, it's one of the most fascinating things. It's one of the most interesting unconscious gut feelings. Whether or not we're reminded of it, whether or not we've ever been told this before, we all know that everything must go, that everything ends. And because of this is why we live in the first place. We live because we want to make the most out of what we have, because we don't have everything and we're never going to have everything. We live because we know that this is the only time you might get to experience something. And well, that specifically is something kids don't really understand. And ironically, they're the ones living their best lives. But as you get older, you're like, oh my god, I'm never going to be able to feel this again. And you either live in the hopes of feeling that again, or if you're a bit more realistic, you understand that those hopes mean nothing, and that You cling on to those experiences for dear life. This is what I did. This is what I did in my relationship. In fact, in some ways, I was so scared of losing her that I. How do I say this? My relationships with the people who were more important to me long term were destroyed in a sense. Not so destroyed that I couldn't get them back up on their feet, because that's where I am right now. I have a generally better relationship with all those people that I didn't because of my relationship, and that was my fault. But the point is that it is a human tendency to just cling on, because we're all insecure and we all don't know what the fuck is going on. But the moment we feel some security, the moment we say, oh my god, this feels nice, this person makes me feel warm, we like that. And that's the one escape we can have. That's the one time we can be our true selves, is what people say. It's the one time we have to stop worrying about everything and anything in the world, and it is a beautiful feeling. If you felt it, you know it. It is a beautiful, beautiful feeling. But there's just one little caveat, that it is a feeling, and it ends. It always does. See, you may have heard the phrase that nothing is permanent and all relationships end, and if you've ever been broken up with your friends might say that, oh, it's okay, you'll just find another girl, and they'll be like, oh yeah, relationships come and go, that's how life is. Not saying they're wrong, but when someone is going through that experience, that's the last thing they want to hear. And many people have great friends, including mine. I'm grateful that none of my friends really pushed that on me and gave me a shoulder when that is what I needed. And that's what most people need. They just need someone to listen to them and support them, instead of giving them blind advice that they don't know shit about. Because of the human tendency, it's a bit counterintuitive. This is what makes getting over someone so difficult, because a part of it is just you clinging on to the memories of those good feelings, and the pain comes from knowing that those are just memories and that they'll never be reality again. And that's what makes us do stupid things like call our ex back and see if you want to get together, or have breakup sex, or whatever is that called. That whole, it's such a popular delusion. Oh, you know what, I can probably be friends with benefits with my ex. it's and I've been that person, and it's, when I see that, or at least when I see myself doing that, it's so sad. But I know, I don't judge myself for it, but I know it was desperation, and it was that this person has lost so much that the one thing they want is sex, and that's the one thing they think will make them feel good and feel better about losing this person. It's just meaningless, emotionless sex with them, because it just provides that some sense of comfort again. It's genuinely sad, and it's normal, it's common. It's generally a bad idea to do that, but it's a common feeling is what I'm saying. So time for some harsh truths. So that you will never grow unless you accept that growing out of a person is just a normal part of the spontaneity of life. People hate to see themselves grow out of other people. People hate it when other people grow out of them. People hate to see other people grow out of other people. because they see it as this form of betrayal, that this form of growth. They don't see it as growth. They see it as distance. And I'm not saying that growing out of people is something that should be praised, or oh that I'm saying there's different ways of people growing out of each other, and some people choose very, very, very bad ways of doing that, like cheating and being disloyal and that whole thing. I'm not encouraging any of that. I'm not saying that that shouldn't be met with the intrinsic anger and sadness that comes with it. That's a natural feeling. What I am saying is that people have this presupposition when they get into a relationship that if I love her enough and if she loves me enough, that we're gonna be together forever, that nothing can break us apart, that we're always gonna be together, that nothing will change, that we'll grow together, we'll grow old together, all of that, that we'll marry each other. It's a very common trope. Is trope the right word? I'm not sure. Please excuse my poor vocabulary in that sentence. But it's a very common thing that when you get really close to someone, and let's say you're in a relationship with them, you say, yeah, I'm gonna marry you. And I'm not saying that that's not genuine. It comes from a place of true love, but most people don't know who the fuck they're gonna marry. And just because they're 15 and don't want to go through finding another girl because it's so difficult for them to find a girl. Sorry, I'm speaking only about men, but generally, yeah. That this is just who they're gonna marry, and they might end up being horrible people to marry, and after the breakup they might realize that, oh shit, this is not the kind of person I ever want to marry. That's what happens. And that's not true. It's not true that just because you love someone enough that'll seal your fate, that'll be the stamp of approval that these two people are never going to separate. It's quite the opposite. People say that true love is, always being there for someone and never letting go of them, never stop being by their side, which is true. That's a good chunk of what true love is made of. But people think that just because someone has broken up with someone, that they never love them truly. Now, I'm not saying that that's not the case. Sometimes breakups happen because people were in delusion, that they think that they were in love when they in fact weren't, or maybe they were confused about what they wanted, and the love they felt was actually never real, but they were so disillusioned that they didn't want to come to terms with that. I'm not saying that's not what happens, but generally true love is when you're with someone and you say that, you know what, even if we break up, which we might, even if we break up, I will continue loving you. Obviously not in the same way. But what I'm saying is that since love is a feeling, it is also an energy. And as we all know, an energy is never created. It cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only change form. So eventually, and I'm not saying this happens with all people, but generally and eventually, your love for someone that can no longer be exercised, so to speak, turns into care, might turn into respect, might turn into appreciation from a distance. Some people get lucky and they get to be friends with their ex. And I say that it's lucky because if you were ever in a relationship with them, they were probably great people. And by great people, I don't mean to talk about their personalities, that they have good values or whatever. They might not, but they were great as in large, and they were meaningful to you, to your experience. And having to be friends with them is an amazing thing. Not for everyone, absolutely not for everyone. I've known people who have excellent relationship with their exes. They're still great friends because they were probably amazing friends before that, and they had no trouble getting back into that. Maybe the relationship didn't end off uh, in a bad way. Maybe the reason for the end of the relationship was something external. That's why they were able to stay such good friends. And I've also known people who can't stand their ex, and being friends is far off, but they can't even stand the thought of them. In some ways, they hate them. And I've known people like myself who stand nowhere, I guess, nowhere in those binary groups. I don't want to call them binary groups, but for me, it's not that I can't stay friends with them, it's just that I don't want to. Goodbyes are necessary because as humans, we always we're always growing, we always evolve, we're always learning new things, and we implement those learnings in different ways in different occasions. And sometimes, in order to become the person that you might want to be or that you're supposed to be, you have to let go of people. This is true in nature for all relationships, whether it's a friendship. Actually, I've heard people say that the ending of friendships hurt more than the ending of relationships. It applies to your relationship with your parents, your siblings, your pets, your hobbies. The most beautiful form of love is to simply accept that it ends. Because once you let go of the belief that love is this permanent energy, or love, at least with some specific person, is permanent, then you begin to form this weird relationship with it. It almost becomes toxic because you grab onto it when it's something that is ever changing. It's something that is always evolving. It's always moving. And trying to grab onto it is like, and this, I've made this analogy before. This analogy is actually from Alan Watts book, that to try to cling on to an experience, or love in this case, is like trying to fill a bucket with running water. You know, you can go to a river that has running water and you can take a bucket to it, you can fill it up, but when the water is in the bucket, it is no longer running. To have running water, you must let it run, let go of it, and accept that you can never catch running water. What I'm trying to say is, goodbyes are so important because it is the proof of the understanding that love is like running water. It is the proof of some sense of maturity when you understand that letting go is always that letting go is the best thing to do. If you're someone that is going through a breakup right now, or has recently lost someone, or your relationship with one of your friends has gone left and it's not going well, or you lost your pet, you had to put down your dog, or you feel sad about not consistently playing football anymore, whatever it is, it's different for everyone. I don't mean to discourage you, I don't mean to make you angry, I don't mean to say that what you feel is not valid, because it absolutely is. And I know for a fact that you do not see it right now, and you cannot see it right now. I didn't see it for as long as I can remember. But now I know that it's true. And I'm not saying you should wait around for it to be true for you. But just, be aware of it. Keep it in mind. Know that all the grief, all the pain you're experiencing right now is just like relationships, temporary. That it's like running water. It comes and goes. It's ever flowing. It's ever changing. And it will be extremely difficult for you to accept this fact, but inevitably you will, and you already might have, but you probably never said it out loud. You probably never thought it consciously. You kind of just knew it, and your brain kind of turned it into a form of muscle memory that, oh yeah, this is just how it goes, people come and go. This is why journaling is so important. This is why making or having conscious conversations with people around you is so important, because it reinforces your ideas, your emotions, and what you believe in. You gain a better and deeper understanding of what you already know, or what you think you know, by just talking to someone about it, or by just journaling about it. Because you see, factually and practically, nothing new, no new information is being added. Even if it's not if it's a two-way conversation, but if you're just talking to someone and someone's listening to you, you're not really saying anything new. And people have a misconception that knowledge is knowing new things, when it's not. Knowledge is, in some ways, experiencing the same thing in different ways, from a different perspective. And I remember having a conversation about breakups like 3 months ago, and also one around 6 months ago, and also one around a year ago, and this one that I'm having right now. And each time I was fascinated by my shift in perspective, or my understanding of the topic itself. And another 3 months from now I might have newer topics. Another year from now I might have been in another relationship and gone through another breakup, whatever it might be. But coming back to the heart of this matter is, goodbyes are important. They're necessary. They're a part of life. And it may not always be an amazing thing that someone has left. It can certainly be a neutral thing. In fact, most often it is neutral. But for most people, it is also great. And I think I can say for myself in some way that it was one of the most important things that happened to me. In some sense, I wouldn't be here talking to this camera right now, and you wouldn't be hearing me say this if this breakup never happened, obviously. But as humans, we love to explore possibilities, and no one can go without thinking what their relationship with someone might, what it could have been. And that's also another part of, dealing with the grief of getting over someone and losing someone, that you're now just supposed to throw away all your expectations for what something could have been. And yeah, that's hard to deal with. But in the end, it's the simplest thing. It's so funny. Relationships are so complicated. Love is so complicated. Women are so complicated. But it really ties down, it boils down to something very, very simple. And it is simply just acceptance. It's awareness. It's a judgment and thought free topic to understand, and that is to just let go. And I guess I can say this with a lot of confidence, that if you decide to let go, which by the way doesn't happen in one beautiful moment, that's just a glorified movie way of seeing things, although that's ironic to me. But letting go is a process, obviously. But when you open yourself up to letting go, which is immense progress, by the way, in just the fact of getting over someone, when you open yourself up to letting go, beautiful things are going to happen, inevitably. Some beautiful things are going to happen. You're going to experience things you've never experienced before. You're going to understand things better. You're going to have a new layer of understanding of the human mind and your own mind, and how you love and how people love and how people are. And externally, apart from this whole situation, if you choose the right path, if you make sensible, pragmatic decisions, you'll end up learning how to be whole again. You'll end up not feeling like a broken or lost part of someone or something different. You'll become whole again. And I can only say this as a claim. I can't prove it to you unless, you're a friend of mine and you've seen this. Which is highly likely what it is. I mean, I'm very uncertain that some random stranger is gonna click on this video. But if you have, then all I can say is that you simply have to experience it to know it. And that I fucking hate liars. I don't know what else there is to say. I ran out of thoughts, because this is unscripted. Just I had some points written down. I just turned on the camera and I started talking. So, well, if you have any thoughts on what I said, then have a conversation with me about it. Absolutely. I would love that. I would love it so much if you had a conversation with me about what you thought of what I said. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. In fact, I would love for you to disagree with me and just speak. Uh, I'll link my Instagram down below so you can just DM me there. Or you can leave a comment, or you can call me up if you have my number. And let's talk. Regardless of who you are, I would love to talk. And I would love to know what you think about this. Damn, I'm zoning out so much, I wonder if I'm gonna edit this out. But I guess it's my first video and I want my future self to see all the imperfections of my now self when I'm 18 and doing this shit. So I guess I'll keep it in. Some of it at least. I know every YouTuber says this. Some of my closest friends do this. But it's so cliche to say, but if you stuck around till the end, like if you're still watching it now, I don't even know the runtime. It's probably gonna be 20-30 minutes, whatever it is. If you're still listening to me, then I love you. That's all I can say. Because you took the time to be attentive, to keep on listening to me even when I might have shut down or said something boring. Even when I'm very, 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 very bad at articulating. And I say that because I know I'm objectively better than most people out there at articulating what I'm feeling. But in comparison to how much better I want to be, I'm nowhere close. So this is hopefully another step in the direction. And what you just heard was my camera dying on me. Please install filler footage, Rudra. They don't want to see a black screen. And hopefully that footage is saved and hopefully I can transfer it to my laptop. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.